Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to the shop. We have got a ton of material here. We're gonna start making some solid wood cabinet door panels with all this stuff. So here we go. This is a big project that we're getting started on. It's a full house package. All this, this is rough sawn fir. So pretty cool story about this stuff. So the client actually had all these trees, fir trees cut down from, I can't remember, it was somebody in their family on their property, and they had it all kiln dried. It's actually really nice stuff. And we're making all the cabinets out of it, the doors and drawer fronts and panels and stuff like that. The door panels are all going to be solid wood. So we're in the process right now of breaking down this material to make those panels. I'm probably going to need to cut up a little bit more, but we're going to start with this. So I've already, a lot of this material was 1x12, and this stuff is actually a true 1-inch thick. So we'll end up getting about a 1/2 inch panel out of this. It'll be a little bit less than a 1/2 inch. They want to keep the rough sawn saw marks on this stuff. So luckily I have the bandsaw, which I hardly ever use, but in a situation like this, I am super grateful to have this thing. I've got a big old resaw blade in there. I've got it set up, and so we are going to start resawing this. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna resaw it, and then I'm gonna break it down into into lengths that will be a little bit longer than the finished length, and I'll kind of cut up the parts I need for each panel, and then we'll go from there. We'll joint the edges, glue them up, and then just keep moving forward in the process. But the panels on a job like this, doing solid wood panels, is certainly a lot more labor than if you were just using some veneer on MDF or something like that for your panels. But with this job being this textured rough sawn look that we're going for, we don't really have that option. So right here is the sample door that I made for them. So you can see the textured look that we're going for. And so they had this stuff milled on an old school mill with like a circular saw blade. So it has those nice rounded saw marks. So we want to keep all that character, and we're going to just lightly sand it, and that'll be that. So the back will obviously be smooth. When I did the sample, I just resawed these pieces on the table saw, but with the bandsaw, it gives me some nicer texture on the back. So these are just some test pieces, so at least I'll get the bandsaw marks on the back side of the panel when we resaw these. That was just a test piece I ran. So the bandsaw we're running, this Grizzly here, I've got the big old resaw blade in there, got this thing set up, have dust collection ran over to it from my planer. I just resawed one of those pieces. They're like, this material is like 8.5 feet long. So I did one, and I think it's going to be easier if I cut these things down to rough length first for all my panels and stack them together and then resaw them. Just because it'll be easier for me to manage the smaller pieces. So I'm going to do that. I'm changing it up. I'm gonna break these things down a little more, and then we'll take them to the resaw. Okay, just went and had me some lunch. So all my parts are cut down to rough length. Now I'll go and take them to the resaw. So every door has a number. All my parts get that number. So like these are all for door number 19. That's how many pieces I need once they're resawn to glue up to give me the amount of panels. I think I have 4 doors. for number 19. So yeah, so now I'll take these to the resaw. We'll resaw them. This will be a little bit easier to do by myself rather than running those 8-foot pieces. Okay, so for this video, obviously I'm using my mic and I'm just kind of talking through it as we go. I do want to start doing more voiceover videos because it's definitely going to shorten up the videos a little bit. I feel like some of my videos are kind of long just because I kind of do the work and then stop and talk about it, and then do the work, stop and talk about it, rather than just doing the work and have a voiceover over it. So let me know what you guys actually prefer. For certain videos, I'll probably do them like this and just kind of walk you through the process. And other ones will probably make more sense just to film it and do a voiceover. I don't like doing voiceovers just because I feel like I sit there at the computer and talk and I'm like, oh, that was stupid, I sound like an idiot, and then have to keep going back and redoing it. But I guess the more that I do it, the better I'll get. But this video is not going to be a voiceover. All right, so over here at the bandsaw, we got the big, chunky resaw blade in there. I have not used this thing much. So Grizzly actually sent this to me a couple years ago. I mean, I've used it, but not a lot. I'm obviously making cabinets, so like I just don't really need to use the bandsaw a lot. I have not used this since I built some furniture pieces for my house last year, quarter sawn white oak. Okay, so resawing is done. Finished that yesterday. It took a few hours. Took probably, I don't know, 2.5 hours to get that all resawed, but it's all done. So obviously, when you resaw stuff, sometimes wood moves a little bit. These stayed not too bad. There's a little cup to them, but that's okay. They will be they'll be fine when we get them in our doors. Everything will be good. So now I got to go through my list. Everything is labeled still on the end and kind of stacked together. So I'll take down, each set. I'm gonna take my parts to the joiner, joint the edge so I get a nice glue joint, and then I'm even hitting the edges, breaking that edge a little bit where the joint is, just because I'm not going to be able to sand it perfectly smooth, because if I sand it all perfectly smooth, it's going to take away the rough sawn look that we're going for. So I'm just breaking that edge slightly so that where there is any little variation, it'll be okay. It won't be a sharp corner. And like I said, this is a rustic, like rough sawn job, so we're not looking for perfectly smooth sanded crisp joints. So here's all the parts. This is the panels these are all the parts for all the panels of the doors and drawer fronts in this house. So there's a lot of glue ups. I'll be gluing up all day. So I've got this thing I just picked up, actually. I've got a little round over bit in there. But my landlord, he runs like a laser printing shop over on the other side. And we just had like a garage sale last week, and he had some old tools, and he had this thing, which is pretty sick. It's got a foot pedal. And so somebody had mentioned, I think this body, it's Delta, I think it was a spindle sander at one time, and whoever had it before, because my landlord bought this thing and never used it, but they rigged this up. It's got the nice Porter Cable 3.5 or 3.25 horsepower router in it. Got this nice aluminum plate on top, and it's pretty sweet for something like this. Just have a little round over bit in there, and I will take my parts and just hit them on the edge of this, and then glue them up. Okay, so I got a few glued up. I've kind of got my process down. So I grab parts for a specific door, check my list, make sure what the size is and that I have the right pieces. Go to the joiner, joint the edge, go to the router table, round over the edge, glue up, label the back, done. I'll probably be gluing up definitely all of today and maybe some of tomorrow. Some of the trickier ones are the ones that have like four pieces, and then it takes a little time because you got to clear the glue out of this joint. So I've got this little scraper thing I'm using to get the glue out of there, because once this dries, I'm not sanding that away. So I need to make sure I get the glue out of there, so when they go to put finish on these or stain them, it doesn't, obviously we don't want to see that glue. So it's day 2 gluing up panels, and I'm not going to finish today. Yesterday I had to leave to run out for some meetings in the afternoon, so I didn't get a full day in, but we did get a lot of panels glued up. We've got, this whole cart here is loaded, and you can kind of see here what they're looking like. And the back, we've just got that little joint there with the bandsaw marks on the back. So these still will get cut down to size and rabbited to fit in the groove in the doors. But that's gonna be it. I still have all this to do, this whole cart here, but I'm not gonna be able to finish it today because I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow. So by the time you guys are seeing this video, I'll be getting back from Hawaii, because I'm not posting this one for another week. When we get back, we're gonna finish the panels, and we'll do the next whole video in this big job series will be the doors. So it'll be making the door parts, rabbiting the panels, and gluing them all up, cutting them to size, that whole thing. So we'll get to that when we get back, as well as a lot of other stuff that I have planned. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe. The Patreon link is down below, also the website, all that stuff. And yeah, see you when I get back from Hawaii.